it, man. What a main event. Wonderboy Thompson, Kevin Holland. We were both wrong going into this. I honestly really thought that there was no way Wonderboy could possibly look this good at the age of 40. I said, listen, the last time he had a good performance was against Jeff Neal. And you know what? That was in 2020. I thought, oh, that's
Yeah.
almost 2 years ago. You
Mhm.
know, Kevin Holland's in his prime. He's 6'3". He's got a significant reach advantage. There's no
He's
fucking way he could
unorthodox.
outclass Kevin Holland. And dude, Wonder Boy looked like he was pulling off techniques straight out of a movie. Like that is one of the most flashy, striking performances I've ever seen against a guy who actually is really dangerous on the feet. Now,
Mhm.
some people are saying Kevin Holland's overrated, and we'll talk about his fight IQ because I
Yeah.
think, honestly, guys, I think Kevin Holland has some really, really bad fight IQ because it seems like he wants to entertain more and he wants to prove a point to himself more
Mhm.
than he wants to win, which at the end of the day, you're just going home with like less than half the money that you could go home with. But I mean, Wonder Boy is the most impressive 40-year-old I've ever seen fight since Yoel Romero. I mean, to be pulling off like those techniques with the speed and athleticism that he can pull them off with, spinning wheel kicks, like snapping head kicks, just he's so fast. Kevin Holland was saying, man, that old man needs to slow down. Like,
Mhm.
how is he doing it at 40? It doesn't make any sense. Jacob, what did you think of his performance?
Yeah, I honestly was real surprised. I just thought I just thought there was no way he was gonna win. I thought like we talked about it last week, like if it goes to decision, that's like the only way, but we didn't think it was gonna go to decision just because he's 40 years, pretty much 40 years old, 39 years old. Holland's got a lot of power. He's very unorthodox. The last time he's fought against the striker who's unorthodox, he got knocked out by Pettis. Um, so I was like, okay, and Holland also has ridiculous reach, ridiculous height. He's still in his prime, or at least we thought he was still in his prime, but we'll get to that after. And yeah, I just thought there was no way Wonder Boy was gonna win. And I have it Holland won the first round, but it was a really close one. But then after that, it was just like Holland just had no answer for what Wonder Boy was giving him, you know what I mean? And it was a complete lesson why you cannot strike with this guy, you know, and why nobody chooses to strike with him. Because if you choose to strike with him and you're at that division, you're gonna get knocked out. It's as simple as that, or you'll get beaten up for 5 straight rounds. Like,
Yeah.
and Holland learned it the hard way, and lost the fight. And speaking of the IQ, like the IQ was awful. And I think like he had a couple of wrestling exchanges where if he stuck with that, he probably would have won the fight, honestly. Because you look at when it happened in the second round. I think there was like 2 minutes left. He could have held Holland on Wonder Boy on the ground, did some ground and pound, some slice him up with some elbows, stuff like that. But instead, he chose to let him up. And I think there was another time where it happened, maybe in the fourth round. I could be wrong, but yeah, I just Wonder Boy isn't great on the ground. So if you have an opportunity with him on the ground, you take advantage of it. And that's what hurt him ultimately, you know. And second round after that, like he got beaten up for 2 more minutes. Third round, he got beaten up again. I think that's where he hurt his hand blocking a kick. Um, he yeah, and then the fourth round, we saw what happened there. But yeah, no, I just think the fight IQ was awful. You can't just like try, like he was just trying to prove to himself that he could strike with this guy when you just can't. You know what I mean? Wonder Boy's been doing it since he was like 5 years old. You know, like he's gonna be a better striker than anybody he goes in the ring with or cage with. So what you need to do with him is you need to grapple. Like gotta get leave your ego aside and grapple, you
Got to
know. And I
mix it
think
up,
Kevin,
man.
he did it too late, you know. He was trying to he was shooting in the fourth round, but that's too late. So you just can't strike with the guy. So
You
yeah, I think
know,
his IQ was awful, and I think he was kind of being a bit like Michael Chandler, where he's trying to like get the fans all hyped up, but he's
yeah.
not doing what's best for him for the win. But I think the difference about him and Michael Chandler, I think Chandler is fully doing it for the fans. I think Holland was doing it to prove to
I
himself a
think
point
I think
that
you're spot on with that.
he could strike with the guy like Wonder Boy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the
And
only
one thing
difference.
that I want to say, to bounce off of that is I think you're spot on. I think that Kevin Holland, not choosing to shoot for takedowns, when he's in a top position, letting Wonderboy up. A guy like Wonderboy who's clearly getting the better of you on the feet, you're just letting him up, and you're saying stand up, stand up. I think that Kevin Holland, kind of views himself as the baddest striker in the division. I mean, think about it. Like, he's been knocking a lot of guys out. He's only really lost to guys like Derek Brunson, Marvin Vittori, grapplers. When Hamzat Chimaev fought him, that was Hamzat Chimaev doing everything that he could to just take him down and submit him. And I think that throughout the past few years, when he's been fighting these grapplers, there may just be kind of that thought that none of these motherfuckers want to stand with me. I'm too dangerous on the feet. None of them want to stand. If only I had someone to stand with. And he kind of got this sense that, he's one of the baddest guys on the feet. Now, he is a pretty dangerous striker, but I mean, we have to look at who is he actually beat. Alex Oliveira, Joaquin Buckley, like, these are guys that aren't even ranked. Tim Means, good fighters, but they're like 20 to 30 like level fighters. If you look down the rankings, they're not in the top 15. And I think that, we kind of all bought into this hype. And a lot of that hype is generated from his bravado, his trash talking in the cage, like his social media presence. He's just a big personality. Yeah. Of course, he's got a long reach. He has some cool knockouts. He's got a funky style. It's fun to watch. And you just think, this guy's 30, he's young, no one wants to stand with him. And you almost start to buy into it. Like, I started to buy into this aura. And I think that the fans buying into it kind of adds, fuel to the fire of Kevin Holland's ego and making him think, like, ain't nobody want to stand with me. I finally got my moment, a stand-up battle with a guy that's going to stand with me. So I'm going to do what I should do. I'm going to prove a point that I'm going to knock this guy out. I'm finishing him. It's the passing of the torch. I'm the new king in this division when it comes to striking. And I mean, honestly, in retrospect, like, Wonderboy's always been in the top 10. Like, he's never been outside of the top 10.
Never.
He's like,
and to do that without the wrestling is unbelievable.
And Kevin Holland has, he's never been ranked at welterweight. I don't think he's ever been ranked at welterweight. He may have been ranked at middleweight at one time, but never at welterweight. And here's the thing. I really thought that it is his ego, because when he's in there, he's making a conscious decision to let Wonderboy up to his feet when he knows he has a submission game. He's probably got some good ground and pound. Yeah. He's knocked some guys out on the ground too. And I think that he was pissed off at himself. And when you're frustrated in the octagon, that could lead to bad decisions, that could lead to you, trying to overextend and overthrow. And I think that, it was that ego that got the best of him. I honestly think that, he kind of bought into this idea that he was just going to go in there and knock Wonderboy out. And I feel like he would have had a better chance to do that if maybe after the second round, he said, all right, fuck this. I'm having some trouble. I'm going to start mixing in some takedowns, and I'll see if I can strike, when I'm trying to mix in takedowns. I think he would have had more success with the striking if he was mixing in takedowns, but he didn't. And you could tell in the fourth round, after it was stopped, he looks down at his glove and he says to his coach, get this shit off of me. He's talking about his glove. He's like, get this off of me. He's pissed at himself. Like, you could tell he was really upset at himself.
He was like, I'll live for another day. Like,
Yeah. And I think that, like, maybe we all kind of bought into the fact that he was a little overhyped. And I think he was overhyped. And honestly, I think Kevin Holland was thinking he was the baddest guy on earth, like, when it comes to the striking. And he got sunned and schooled by a 40-year-old dude, 40-year-old. Who literally makes it look like a movie. And, by the way, I think Stephen Thompson is legitimately one of the best strikers ever. And on top of that, I take it back. He's still an S-tier striker. And guess what? Israel Adesanya, not even in my top fucking 5. Because here's the thing. People speak of Izzy. Oh, Izzy's got to be like number 1 or 2 best strikers. Not a chance. Like, people will watch a guy like Alex Pereira KO him. People will watch a guy like Wonderboy landing spinning wheel kicks at will. And then they'll go out here and say, no, but Izzy, man, that dude was the champion. Like, just because he was champ, who is he fighting? Like, the guy throws a couple leg kicks and he throws a couple right hands and a couple hooks. Like, pretty fast kicks, but leg kicks. Wonderboy's out here making movies in the octagon.
Also, he's doing it against a guy with like an 8-inch reach advantage.
Yeah,
like,
he's doing that against a guy who has a significant reach advantage. He's also good on the feet.
That's why Izzy's striking is so good. Like, it never was actually that good. He just had a huge reach advantage over everybody. So, like, they couldn't deal.
Dude, the fact that Wonderboy fucked up Kevin Holland with a massive reach advantage
You
at
know
the
what I
age of
mean?
40 is insane. Like I first of all, we made a video talking about Wonderboy and where he ranks. We said we wouldn't have him in our top five. I take it back. I think he's now in my top five. Like he
Mhm.
really proved me wrong. Um, but still, man, like Cyril Gahn is looking flashier than Izzy.
Yeah.
Like he's looking better than Izzy. He's pulling off cooler things than Izzy. Like, you know, Volkanovski, Poirier, like these guys are finishing people, bro. They're finishing people and putting beatings on them with cool techniques. Israel Adesanya leg kicking Marvin Vittori and Jared Cannonier barely getting the win. Are you kidding
Oh, and
me?
then people are like, "Oh, he's the best striker in the world." Like,
I think Israel Adesanya, if you look at who is beat, okay, Robert Whitaker, his first fight over, very impressive. I have to say, in my opinion, if you're going to actually say what's the most impressive win he has, I really do think it's that Whitaker one, just based on how good Whitaker is. Then the Paulo Costa one. Those are two fights. Very good.
that was
Okay, I'll
it.
give it to him. That's it. Like what else is in there? Sure, he looked decent against Pereira, but he still got KO'd.
Yeah,
Like he
he
didn't
still got
win.
outstruck. You know what I mean?
Still got
Like
outstruck. So like Jan Blachowicz, you got outstruck. I mean, and then you're looking at fights like Marvin Vittori, Jared Cannonier, Yoel Romero. Like, are you kidding me?
yeah.
Ah, man. And then Kelvin Gastelum, like the guys he's humiliating, Kelvin Gastelum,
I
Paulo
mean, he didn't even
Costa,
humiliate Gastelum.
Wonderboy's like, yeah. I think Kevin Holland beats all these guys. I think Kevin Holland, if it was
Oh,
just a stand-up battle with Paulo Costa, might beat him.
yeah.
Just a stand-up battle. And I just think that Adesanya was maybe one of the. I'm not saying he's lucky. He's a little lucky, but he's a little lucky that he got that 185-pound division where the best grappler is Whitaker, who can't even hold you down for more than 10 seconds
Also, the reach. He got lucky with his reach.
with the reach, of course.
You know what I
But
mean?
I don't know if I. But I think that's just a. I feel like that's just a part of it. I mean, Volkanovski's got a long reach for his division.
But not like Izzy
Conor
though.
had a
Like,
long reach.
but like Izzy, like I mean, he should be a 205er with that kind of height and reach, and like he's small. He's like skinny and stuff. So
But
he could
he's
fit.
small for 205.
Yeah,
I
no, but
have
I'm
to
saying
say.
is like he
Yeah.
like with his length and his reach, like he should be a 205er,
Yeah.
but he's not like he or even a heavyweight, but he's skinny, like he doesn't have a lot of muscles. So
Yeah.
he fits in that division and he could like he's got like these huge reach advantage over
Yeah.
people, and like they can't do anything about it, you know what I mean? Because like I mean, look, he's a good striker, obviously. And you take a good
Yeah. Great
striker.
striker. I mean, let's be real. He's a great
Yeah, I mean
striker,
he's
but
a
yeah.
pretty good striker, and like let's be like if you're a pretty good striker and you have an 8-inch reach advantage over everybody, and your legs are longer, your length is your height's a lot longer, taller. Like you're gonna beat everybody if they try to striking with you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Unless
like I don't
you're
think he
Wonder
was.
Boy.
Yeah, unless you're Wonderboy, which is why
Or
Wonderboy's
yeah.
better. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
Holland's a pretty good striker
Yeah.
too. He's not Adesanya level, I wouldn't say, but for a guy like Wonder Boy to do that to someone who has an 8-inch reach advantage and a couple inches in height, like is unbelievable. And I don't remember the last time I've seen something like that. Truly, a striking
Yeah.
performance like that. I don't
Yeah.
remember the last time I've seen that. And to your point about the Yoel Romero, like to be the last guy who was 39 years old to look like him, the only other guy in the UFC to look like that at
Only other
39
dude.
is
Yeah.
Yoel
Like
Romero, who's
knocking
literally
people out,
made in a Cuban who's made in a
Yeah.
Cuban
Cuban
lab,
factory, bro. Like,
literally. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Like, I
Um,
know, man. I mean, and the Wonder Boy, Yoel's impressive because he's just such a beast. And for sure, there's some old guys that have had success like Glover, but what makes it so impressive is that he's like pulling off these striking techniques, these flashy striking techniques, wheel kicks, hook kicks, like jumping switch kicks. It's just, how does he have that athleticism
at
and
that age
dexterity and agility at that age? It's so
and the
insane.
speed,
He must have
and
some
even the
really good
power
recovery program
and his
and
power
the speed.
too.
Yeah,
His
and the
power was
power.
good.
Yeah. Dude, he was landing wheel kicks at will. Like, dude, we don't even see that at bantamweight. We don't even see that with guys like O'Malley and all this. And it might just because their opponents are also equally skilled to them, but still, it's just incredibly impressive. Wonder Boy, in my opinion, is the honestly, he's the most. I would say, okay. So when I say best striker, that's me saying who's the most effective striker in MMA. I think Wonder Boy is the most impressive striker. Like when
I
I've
think
watched
Wonder
Wonder
Boy is the
Boy,
most crafty striker of all time. I think he's the
I think
most
he's up
creative
there, man.
striker of all time. I think he's the
I
most
think him
creative
and
striker.
Silva, I'd put but maybe Wonderboy's up there, but him and Silva, I'd put them up there. But like, yeah, man,
And Jake
like
Paul
I've watched
beat Anderson
Wonderboy
Silva,
fight.
so
What's
that's
up?
and Jake Paul beat Anderson Silva, so people got to stop discrediting the guy. But
No, I don't
but
think so,
anyways,
man. Because
anyways,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because Wonderboy, like whenever I see him fight a striker, he's always just outclassing them like these.
you
He
just
pulls
can't
off
strike with
like
the guy.
yeah. If I were to take a guy who doesn't watch MMA and I said, okay, like I can show you a guy fight live and it's going to be really entertaining, I just show them Wonderboy versus any striker,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
literally,
mean,
because you cannot go wrong.
but like you
And the
don't
fact
see
that
him going
Anthony
against
Pettis
them.
KO'd him is a fluke. And like I've heard people say, and I fell into this. The MMA Guru, for example, said that he doesn't do well against guys that are really unorthodox. I think that's bullshit, and I think it's time that it's laid to rest because Pettis KOing him was a fucking fluke, straight up.
Yeah,
I think that was a bit of a fluke.
yeah. I think also the thing about Wonderboy is like we don't see people try striking with him, and like this was like pretty much one of the only examples where we've seen someone fully try striking with him, and you can't, you just can't. He's gonna be better than anybody. Truly, I like in terms of at least that division, he's gonna be better than anybody. And I honestly think he may be top 3 in the UFC in striking. I don't. He may not be top 5.
I think he's top 3. I think he's top pure striking.
Definitely. He may be number 1. He may be number 1
pure
for that matter.
Striking, bro, probably.
Because
I don't like who beats him on the feet. I think he could maybe knock out. I think he could, dude. He could knock out Whitaker. He already did. He already has knocked him out. And I think he could. Here's one thing. Before we get on to the next segment, I want to see Wonderboy move up because it would be a shame and a waste and a shit business move to not have Wonderboy fighting strikers. He's never going to become champion ever again. Let's be real. He's not beating any guy that can grapple. And number 2, at welterweight in the rankings, that's nobody but grapplers. Bilal Muhammad, Shavkat Rachmanov, Hamza Chimaev, Colby Covington, Gilbert Burns, all grapplers. So get him to move up. Even Leon Edwards is gonna wrestle him. So move him up to middleweight. So he has matchups like Whitaker, Cannonier, Strickland, Costa, all strikers. Get him to 185 now because it's not realistic to put him up against guys that are outside the rankings when he's ranked high. I want to see him move up. I want to see him fight Whitaker. I want to see him fight Strickland, Cannonier. Those would be awesome fights.
Let's see Sean Strickland versus Wonderboy.
Dude, I think Strickland would kill him. I mean, I think Wonderboy would kill him.
Or even, I also think Wonderboy versus
Cannonier,
Masvidal,
dude. I want to see that. I want to see Wonderboy versus any guy who's a striker.
What about Masvidal versus?
I like that too. He beat Masvidal once, and
but
I don't think there's any chance for Masvidal to win that one. But I'd like to see it.
Yeah, because I think Masvidal would strike with him too. I think Strickland would strike with him. That's why I like it. You just have to. But at the same time, will these guys really strike with him though? Because that's the thing.
I think Strickland has maybe learned his lesson to never strike with a guy like that.
That's the thing though. I don't know if anybody will strike with him.
I think Whitaker would be able to mix it up and take him down here and there.
But then Whitaker would probably win the fight.
I think there would be a lot of striking because the thing is Whitaker might not be able to hold him down. He may be much bigger though. And here's the thing. I think that Cannonier, dude, these guys at middleweight, they don't have grappling. Like they don't have the Bilal Muhammad level of grappling. Like there's one guy that's a good wrestler, Whitaker, but other than that, like no one is able to really hold you down like that.
Or what about Izzy?
I want to see him move up.
I would want to see Izzy versus Wonderboy. I think that'd be a good fight.
I'd love to see that too.